Hi, I'm Peter J. Ray. Welcome to Adventures in History. Today's topic is the 1974 Cleveland Indians AL MLB baseball season. Again, the Tribe was playing in the American League, the junior circuit of Major League Baseball. And home games were played at Cleveland Municipal Stadium downtown, where First Energy Stadium now stands. The Tribe had an outstanding year in 1974. They finished in fourth place in the American League East, with a record of 77 and 85, winning percentage of .475. 8 games under 500, 14 games out of first. The first place team was the Baltimore Orioles, who were 91 and 71, winning percentage of .562. Second place, the New York Yankees, 89 and 73, 2 games out of first. Third place, the Boston Red Sox, 84 and 78. Fourth place, the Cleveland Indians, 77 and 85. Fifth place, the Milwaukee Brewers, 76 and 86. And in sixth and last place, the Detroit Tigers, 72 and 90, winning percentage of .444, 19 games out of first. In the American League West, the Oakland A's finished in first place with a record of 90 and 72, winning percentage of .556. Second place, the Texas Rangers, 84 and 76, 5 games out of first. Third place, the Minnesota Twins, 82 and 80. Fourth place, the Chicago White Sox, 80 and 80. Fifth place, the Kansas City Royals, 77 and 85. And in sixth and last place, the California Angels, 68 and 94. Tribe home attendance in 1974 was 1,114,262, up approximately 500,000 people. And this was the first time that the Tribe reached a million fans since 1959. So that was really good. I read a fine book. The title is Rally Around Cleveland, the story of the 1974 franchise-saving Cleveland Indians by Jim Clark, 2018. Terry Pluto wrote about this book, quote, "For people of a certain age who love the Cleveland Indians, there's a team that is special to them. It isn't always the best team. Often it's a struggling team, but it's a team that makes you love the Tribe. For some, it was the 1974 Indians. The names John Ellis, Gaylord Perry, Leron Lee, Beer Knight, Charlie Spikes. If some of those names bring a smile to your face, this book is for you." Harold Bossard and Marshall Bossard, two brothers, Tribe groundskeepers, won the Good Guy Award in 1974, which eventually was named after Frank Gibbons and Steve Olin. On April 27th, the Tribe had a big trade with the Yankees. Chris Chambliss, Dick Tidrow, and Cecil Upshaw were sent to New York for Fritz Peterson, Steve Klein, Fred Bean, and Tom Buskey. After the trade, the Tribe went 40 and 24. They're in first place for a week in early July. And by August 1, the Tribe was only 2.5 games out of first. In 1974, Mickey Mantle was inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame, as well as Whitey Ford, his teammate and good friend. At the induction, Mantle said, quote, "I wish my dad could have been here to see this." In 1974, Brooks Robinson published his autobiography, "Third Base is My Home." In the book, Robinson said, quote, "I feel strongly that public sports figures must not only support our own area of interest, but provide a helping hand to the many others less fortunate than we. We really receive much more than we give when we share something of ourselves with organizations like Little League, churches, hospitals, and the many charitable groups that call on us from time to time." Now, Robinson had advice to young athletes. He wrote, quote, "I believe in Jesus Christ and Christianity, thanks to my parents, has been a part of my life as long as I can remember. Take the time to thank everyone who has helped you in any way down the avenue of success in your particular endeavor. Learn to appreciate what God has given you. Trial and tribulation will be with us along much of the way we must walk through life, and it will be impossible to take a single step forward without strong, deep-seated faith. When you begin to love God more, you love self less. This makes you more tolerant, more grateful. It makes you less subject to stresses, less inclined to make mistakes. I believe that anything worthwhile we accomplish because of God's strength and under His direction. And it should be for His glory and not our own. In In 1974, Yankee Stadium was being renovated, so the Yankees shared Shea Stadium with the Mets in 74. The Pirates started the season, Pittsburgh Pirates started the season 6-12, and pitcher Doc Ellis tried to shake up his team. And before a game against the Cincinnati Reds, he announced that he was going to hit Reds players. And in the first inning, Ellis hit, while pitching, hit by the pitch, he hit Pete Rose, Joe Morgan, and Dan Dreesen. So loaded the bases on hit by the pitches. And he tried to hit Tony Perez, but ended up walking him instead. And then he threw 2 pitches at Johnny Bench before he was taken out of the game. It was a record. That set a record for starting a game with 3 hit by the pitch. In 74, Lou Brock broke Maury Will's single-season stolen base record of 104 and ended up with 118 stolen bases. On the A's, Reggie Jackson and Bill North had a clubhouse fight, and catcher Ray Fosse, a former Tribe player, tried to break it up and was injured and had a broken vertebrae in his neck. Was out for 3 months on the disabled list. Very unfortunate. The A's had a designated runner, Herb Washington. He was a pinch runner in 92 games. He never batted. He had 29 stolen bases and caught stealing 16 times. The A's pitcher Ken Holtzman revealed that he recently read all 7 volumes of Marcel Proust's Remembrance of Things Past in the original French. Wow. The 74 Rangers had a 27-game improvement in victories from 1973. Billy Martin was the 74 Manager of the Year in the American League. Rod Carew won the batting title in 74 with an average of .364. Nolan Ryan had 3 games in which he had 19 strikeouts, and he ended the season with a no-hitter on September 28th, facing the Twins. Tigers' Al Kaline got his 3,000th base hit in 74. Red Sox Bernie Carbo had a stuffed gorilla that he brought into the locker room with whom he would have conversations. Dodgers' Mike Marshall, relief pitcher, got in 106 games, won 15 games and had 21 saves, an ERA of 2.42. He had Tommy John elbow surgery under Dr. Frank Jobe and recovered. May 31st, Tommy John also had that surgery. May 31st at the stadium, Carl Wallenda walked a tightrope on the roof from the left field roof to the right field roof, 115 feet high. It must have been terrifying for the fans because if he fell, he would have died. That was before a Tribe Royals game. Tribe games in 74, there were only 40 games televised per season, unlike today. June 7th was Bat Day at the stadium, and in the 7th inning, all of the bats were raised in the air. July 21st was Old Timers Day at the stadium, and Jimmy Dudley, former broadcaster, was the MC. Former players who came and played included Bob Feller, Bob Lemon, Sam Denty, Early Wynn, Mike Garcia, Al Rosen, Vic Wirtz, Rudy Regalado, and Al Lopez. It was the manager Al Lopez. It was the 20th anniversary of the 1954 American League champions, Cleveland Indians. July 26th at the stadium was Country Western Night, and George Jones and Tammy Wynette performed after the game. On July 7th, former Tribe owner Vernon Stouffer died at age 67. Was buried at Lakewood Park in Rocky River, Ohio. On August 8th, in national news, U.S. President Richard Nixon resigned due to the Watergate scandal. Now, in Jim Clark's 74 Tribe book, Clark wrote, quote, "Remember, I can recall things that to most mean nothing, especially if it happened at the stadium." August 16th was Rally Around Cleveland night at the stadium, and Daredevil Evel Knievel performed. And Rally Around Cleveland, the best things in life are here, was connected to the 1972 song, The Best Things in Life Are Right Here in Cleveland. And it was connected to trying to have a positive community spirit promoted by the Greater Cleveland Growth Association. On August 22nd at the stadium, they had a fan giveaway. Thanks a million leather key cases were given to fans. And that night, the attendance went past 1 million people. Jim Clark wrote, quote, 1974 would be a summer that I would never forget. I still hold the memories very dear to this day. After the season, the Coliseum in Richfield, Ohio, was opened on October 26, 1974, and Frank Sinatra performed on that night. And, of course, the Coliseum was the home for the Cleveland Cavaliers from 1974 to 1993. Now, Henry Aaron was his 74 was his big year. He started the season only one game behind Babe Ruth. On April 4th in Cincinnati, the Reds were playing the Braves, and Jack Billingham was the starting pitcher, and he gave up Henry Aaron a 714th home run in his first at-bat of the season in the first inning on a 3-1 pitch, and that was actually a 3-run home run. The game was stopped for 6 minutes, and Vice President Gerald Ford spoke to the crowd, congratulating Henry Aaron. On April 8th, the Braves were back home in Atlanta, facing the LA Dodgers. In the fourth inning, Dodger pitcher Al Downing was on the mound, and he gave up Aaron's 715th home run. Vin Scully described it on the radio, quote, "Aaron waiting, fastball high, drive deep into left center field. Bill Buckner goes back to the fence. It is gone. It's over." And for the first time in a long time, that poker face of Henry Aaron shows the tremendous relief. What a marvelous moment for baseball. What a marvelous moment for Atlanta and the state of Georgia. A black man is getting a standing ovation in the Deep South for breaking a record of an all-time baseball idol. And it is a great moment for all of us, particularly for Henry Aaron. Braves pitcher Tom House caught the ball in the Atlanta bullpen. Now, after Henry Aaron touched home base, his mother came on the field and gave him a big hug. She was afraid that someone was going to shoot him, so she wanted to use her body to protect him. Tragic. The game was stopped for 11 minutes, and Henry Aaron spoke to the crowd and said, quote, "I just thank God that it's over with." Now, his last at-bat of the season, he finished the season playing for the Atlanta Braves, and he got 20 home runs. Finished the season with 733 home runs. On November 2nd, 74, Henry Aaron was traded to the Milwaukee Brewers for Dave May. So he would have 2 more years, primarily as a designated hitter in the American League. Now, of course, in 74 was the infamous beer night riot at the stadium on June 4th. There were 10-cent beer was offered to the public, 25,134 fans. In the 6th inning, the fans were becoming unruly. The game was delayed a number of times as fans were running on the field. The 9th inning, the game was tied 5-5. At the bottom of the 9th, the Tribe had a runner on third with 2 out. And that was the end of the playing. Several hundred fans swarmed the field, and players had to fight to get off the field. Umpire Nestor Shilak declared a forfeit, so the Tribe lost the game. Who knows if they might have won that game. The players used baseball bats to protect themselves as they left the field. During the game, between 60,000 and 65,000 10-ounce cups of Stroh's beer were served. Joe Tate described the situation on the radio, quote, "Tom Hilgendorf has been hit in the head. Hilge is in definite pain. He's been over, holding his head. Oh, this is an absolute tragedy." Again, as I was saying, in bottom of the 9th, 5-5. Tribe runner on third was Rusty Torres. The regular beer price was 65 cents, but in this game it was 10 cents, and there was no limit. The Tribe had similar promotions. It started with Nickel Beer Night in 1971. Now in the 9th, everything fell apart when a fan ran on the field, attempted to steal. Apparently, he got the cap of Texas Rangers right fielder Jeff Burroughs. And Burroughs tried to get his cap back, and he tripped and fell. His manager, Billy Martin, in the dugout thought that when he fell, he had been attacked. So Martin and the Rangers ran onto the field with bats to help protect Burroughs. And then hundreds of fans came on the field to fight the Rangers. And that's when the Tribe players, Ken Astromonti told his players to go out in the field and help the Rangers. And eventually all 3 bases were stolen. Both teams left the stadium under police escort. And the field lights were turned off, trying to get people to leave. There were a mob of 15 teenagers that remained on the top of the Rangers' dugout chanting that they wanted the Rangers to come out and fight. Cleveland sports writer Dan Coughlin went to interview them, and he said, quote, "Everybody's gone. The Rangers are back at the hotel. Why are you still here?" Now, with the Tribe, Nick Milletti was back as Tribe owner, and Nick Milletti was the head of the Tribe ownership group from 1972 to 1976. Nick Milletti. Ted Bonda was team president. Bonda was Tribe president from 1973 to 1977. Ted Bonda was born in 1917 in Cleveland, Ohio, and he died in Cleveland in 2005 at age 88. He was a partner with Nick Milletti. He assumed control of the team in 73. In 74, he hired Frank Robinson, the first African-American MLB manager. One of his partners was Howard Metzenbaum. The two of them had Metzenbaum's, they had an airport parking company, and they were principal owners of the Cleveland Stokers soccer team. The first name, Alva, he was named after Alva Bradley, former Tribe owner. Ted Bonda was active in civic affairs at the Cleveland School Board. He was a liberal Democrat. He dedicated his wealth to philanthropic endeavors. Russell Schneider wrote, quote, "There is little doubt that without Ted Bonda's expertise, the Indians would have either gone bankrupt and out of business or been sold and moved out of Cleveland." Bonda steered the Tribe through a series of financial crises. He would negotiate with the banks and bring in new partners and more capital to keep the team going. Opening day of 74, Bonda arranged to have a human cannonball stunt, tightrope walker, and so forth. He had there was a lot of promotions that Bonda initiated to stimulate attendance. Ted Bonda said, quote, "We can't wait for a winning team." Now, he blocked Phil Segui planned to trade Gaylord Perry to the Red Sox for John Curtis, Marty Patton, and Roger Moret. But Bonda blocked that trade, and Bonda said, "I'm a big believer in heroes. Gaylord Perry was the only hero we had." Ted Bonda. Phil Segui was back as Tribe general manager. Segui was the Tribe GM from 1973 to 1984. At the end of the 74 season, Segui was given a 2-year contract extension, and Ted Bonda said, quote, "We wanted to reward Phil for a job well done, and let everyone know we have stability within our organization." Phil Segui. Herb Score was back as Tribe radio broadcaster on 3WE Radio. Herb Score was a Tribe player from 1955 to 1959. He was a Tribe TV and radio broadcaster from 1964 to 1997, and he's buried in Lakewood Park Cemetery in Rocky River, Ohio. Herb Score. His partner was Joe Tate on 3WE Radio. Tate was a Tribe radio announcer from 1973 to 1979, and a Tribe TV announcer from 1980 to 1987. Tate was the Cleveland Cavaliers radio announcer from 1970 to 2011. Joe Tate. Harry Jones was back on as a TV broadcaster for the Tribe on WJW-TV. Jones was the Cleveland Plain Dealer reporter from 1940 to 1947, and a Cleveland Plain Dealer sports writer from 1947 to 1960. Jones was a Tribe radio and TV announcer from 1961 to 1976. Harry Jones. His partner was Mudcat Grant on WJW-TV. Grant was a Tribe player from 1958 to 1964, and a Tribe TV broadcaster in 1973, 1974, and 1977. Mudcat Grant. Ken Aspermonte was back as Tribe manager. Aspermonte was a Tribe player from 1960 to 1962, and a Tribe manager from 1972 to 1974. This was the end of his MLB career. Jim Clark wrote, quote, "Ken Aspermonte deserved more credit than he ever received." Now, Aspermonte's father, Angelo, attended a Tribe game and was upset when his son Ken was booed when he went to the mound to talk to pitchers or make a pitching change. His father said, quote, "It makes me unhappy when I think I should be happy. Sometimes I want to turn around and ask people, why boo? Why do you act that way? Aren't you glad your team is doing better than it used to do? How would you feel if your son were booed like that?" Jim Clark wrote, quote, "Ken Aspermonte, the much-maligned Tribe skipper with smoke and mirrors, kept the club in the pennant race until the middle of September. 6 games left in the season, it was announced that Aspermonte would not be returning, as he would not be rehired in 75 as team manager. He spoke to the team and he said, quote, "I shall always be grateful that I was afforded the opportunity to manage this club. I don't know where I will be next year, but wherever it will be, please know that if I can be of any help to any one of you, do not hesitate to call me." Jim Clark regarding his 74 Tribe book, wrote, quote, "This book is my way of thanking Ken Aspermonte for my first pennant race. It was a memorable summer. From June 27th through August 18th, the Indians occupied first place for 6 days and second place for 30 days. The other days were spent in third place and right in the thick of the pennant race. All present Indians fans should know Ken Aspermonte for his 1974 Cleveland Indians may have saved the franchise. No resurgence in 1974, maybe no Tribe in 1976. Baseball was safe in Cleveland thanks to Ken Aspermonte and the 1974 Cleveland Indians. Ken Aspermonte. Clay Bryant was back as Tribe coach. Bryant was a Tribe coach in 1967 and 1974. Clay Bryant. Larry Doby was back as a Tribe coach. Doby was a Tribe player from 1947 to 1955 and in 1958. Doby was the Tribe coach in 1974. Larry Doby was the first African-American to play in the American League in MLB with the 47 Tribe. And in 2015, a statue of Doby was erected at Progressive Field. Larry Doby. Tony Pacheco was a Tribe coach. Pacheco was a Tribe coach in 1974. Tony Pacheco was born in 1927 in Havana, Cuba, and died in 1987 in Miami Beach, Florida at age 59. He had a long career in the minors as an infielder and a manager. He was an MLB coach for 6 seasons with the 74 Tribe and with the Houston Astros from 76 to 79 and 82. The minors, he played for the Newport Canners, Havana Cubanos, Havana Sugar Kings. The minors, over 8 seasons, he had 14 home runs and 2,825 at-bats. For the Cincinnati Reds, he worked as a manager in the minors and a scout. He was a manager for the Oklahoma City 89ers and a scout with the Astros. He signed Cesar Cedeno. In Mexico, he played for Sultanes de Monterrey. Tony Pacheco. Now, the Tribe everyday lineup, Dave Duncan was the Tribe catcher. Duncan batted .200 with 85 hits. He scored 45 runs, 10 doubles, a triple, 16 home runs, 46 RBIs, 42 walks, 91 strikeouts in 136 games. Duncan was with Cleveland from 1973 to 1974. This was the end of his time in Cleveland. He was an MLB player until 1976 with the Orioles and an MLB coach until 2011 with the St. Louis Cardinals. He was traded by the Tribe to the Baltimore Orioles on February 25, 1975 for Boog Powell and Don Hood. And his son, Shelley Duncan, was a Tribe player from 2010 to 2012. Dave Duncan. John Ellis was at first base. Ellis batted .285 with 136 hits. He scored 58 runs, 23 doubles, 6 triples, 10 home runs, 64 RBIs, a stolen base, 32 walks in 128 games. And Ellis was with Cleveland from 1973 to 1975. He won the 1974 Gordon Cobbledick Golden Tomahawk Award. Jim Clark wrote, quote, "John Ellis was pure Cleveland and pure blue collar, and the fans loved him for it. He always had his teammates' backs, hustled all the time, and seemed to take each loss to heart. He was our type of guy." Ken Aspermonte said, quote, "John Ellis is probably the best clutch hitter in baseball. When things get tough, he gets tougher." After a July 20th, John Ellis walk-off single in the ninth with an RBI, helping the Tribe to win 10-9 at the stadium on game televised on NBC Game of the Week against the Oakland A's. John Ellis. Jack Brohammer was at second base. Brohammer batted .270 with 85 hits. He scored 33 runs, 11 doubles, a triple, 2 home runs, 30 RBIs, 2 stolen bases, 26 walks in 101 games. And Brohammer was with Cleveland from 1972 to 1975 and in 1980. Jack Brohammer. Frank Duffy was at shortstop. Duffy batted .233 with 128 hits. He scored 62 runs, 18 doubles, 8 home runs, 48 RBIs, 7 stolen bases, 30 walks in 158 games. And Duffy was with Cleveland from 1972 to 1977. Frank Duffy. Buddy Bell was at third base. Bell batted .262 with 111 hits. He scored 51 runs, 15 doubles, a triple, 7 home runs, 46 RBIs, a stolen base, 35 walks in 116 games. And Bell was with Cleveland from 1972 to 1976. Buddy Bell was a Tribe coach from 1994 to 95, and in 2003 and 2004. His son David Bell was a Tribe player in 1995 and 1998. Now in 74, when Buddy Bell would come up to the plate to bat, the organist would play One Less Bell to Answer, a song by the Fifth Dimension. On July 25th, a doubleheader at the stadium against Baltimore, the Tribe got the sweep, and Jim Clark was there with his dad. Game 2 in the ninth, the Tribe was down 3-1. Clark suggested to his father that they should go home because his father needed sleep. His father would get up for work at 2:30 a.m. His father said, quote, "Nah, sit tight, but Buddy's going to tie it up." And after that, Buddy Bell hit a 2-run home run to tie the game. Jim Clark wrote, quote, "Tears still come to my eyes when I think about it, like right now." Buddy Bell and I became somewhat close when his son David played in Canton. Buddy was close to his father, Gus, and we would trade stories. He loved to hear this story as much as I loved telling it. Tribe won the game in the 13th to get the sweep. And sports writer Jackson Patterson called that the miracle of Boudreaux Boulevard. Buddy Bell. John Lowenstein was in left field. Lowenstein batted .242 with 123 hits. He scored 65 runs, 14 doubles, 2 triples, 8 home runs, 48 RBIs, 36 stolen bases, 53 walks, 85 strikeouts in 140 games. And Lowenstein was with Cleveland from 1970 to 1977. John Lowenstein said, quote, "I don't want to be a star. I only want to twinkle now and then." Well, John Lowenstein hit .242 3 out of 4 years between 74 and 77. Dan Coughlin wrote, quote, "When Cleveland press writer Bob Sudik heard that John Lowenstein wanted an apathy club, he thought he had just found a $100 bill on the sidewalk. Sudik turned apathy into the mantra of Lowenstein's career in Cleveland. When Lowenstein played left field, as he often did, fans in the lower deck behind him often held up apathy club signs. In reality, John Lowenstein was anything but apathetic. He was hard-working, ambitious, and humble. John Lowenstein. George Hendrick was in center field. Hendrick batted .279 with 138 hits. He scored 65 runs, 23 doubles, a triple, 19 home runs, 67 RBIs, 6 stolen bases, 33 walks in 139 games. Hendrick was with Cleveland from 1973 to 1976. He played on the 1974 All-Star team. When Hendrick would come to bat, the organist would play Georgie Girl, Smoke on the Water by Deep Purple. During the 74 season, Hendrick was in frequent conflict with manager Ken Ashpermani because of his lackadaisical play, especially not running out ground balls. George Hendrick. Charlie Spikes was in right field. Spikes batted .271 with 154 hits. He scored 63 runs, 23 doubles, a triple, 22 home runs, 80 RBIs, 10 stolen bases, 34 walks, 100 strikeouts in 155 games. Spikes was with Cleveland from 1973 to 1977. 74 was his best season in his career. He had a 19-game hitting streak. Regarding Coach Larry Doby, Spikes said, quote, "I've learned more from him than I've learned since I've been playing baseball. The Bogalusa Bomber, Charlie Spikes, my favorite player." Oscar Gamble was the DH. Gamble batted .291 with 132 hits. He scored 74 runs, 16 doubles, 4 triples, 19 home runs, 59 RBIs, 5 stolen bases, 48 walks in 135 games. And Gamble was with Cleveland from 1973 to 1975. Oscar Gamble. Leron Lee was in left field. We're talking about as a bench player. Lee batted .233 with 54 hits. He scored 18 runs, 13 doubles, 5 home runs, 25 RBIs, 3 stolen bases, 15 walks in 79 games. Lee was born in 1948 in Bakersfield, California, and he's 71 years old in 2019. During his MLB career, he batted .250 with 31 home runs and 152 RBIs. Lee played for the St. Louis Cardinals, San Diego Padres, Cleveland Indians, and LA Dodgers from 1969 to 1976. After that, he had a long career in pro baseball in Japan, where he batted .320 with 283 home runs and 912 RBIs. He played for the Lotte Orions in Japan from 1977 to 1987. He was a 4-time All-Star in Japan in 1977 and from 79 to 81. in the Nippon Professional Baseball League. He was a four-time Best Nine award winner in Japan in 1977, 80, 84, and 85. He was the inspiration for the 1992 movie Mr. Baseball. He was the first MLB player to move to Japan at the height of his career and marry a Japanese woman. He had 36 college football scholarship offers, but chose to play baseball. He retired in 2018. He has the Japanese career record batting average for a career. He was the coach for the Oakland A's in '89, won a World Series title with them. He's currently the Cincinnati Reds advising batting coach. He scouting players in the minors. In the minors, he played for the Tulsa Oilers, and in Mexico for Sultanes de Monterrey. Leron Lee. Rusty Torres played some center field. Torres batted .187 with 28 hits. He scored 19 runs, 2 doubles, 3 home runs, 12 RBIs, 2 stolen bases, 13 walks in 109 games. Torres was with Cleveland in 1973 and 1974. This was the end of his time in Cleveland. His MLB career continued until 1980 with the Kansas City Royals. Rusty Torres. Remy Hermoso played some second base. In '74, he was known as Angel Hermoso. Hermoso batted .221 with 27 hits. He scored 15 runs, 3 doubles, a triple, 5 RBIs, 2 stolen bases, 7 walks in 48 games. Hermoso was born in 1947 in Puerto Cabello, Carabobo, Venezuela, and he's 71 years old in 2019. During his career, he batted .211 with 8 RBIs. He played for the Atlanta Braves, Montreal Expos, and Cleveland Indians from 1967 to 1974. Again, he was known as Angel when he played for the Tribe. He had a pretty bad injury during the '74 season. Don Baylor went hard on trying to break up a double play ball, and hit Hermoso pretty hard, and he had a severe knee injury. 2015, and Hermoso was inducted into the Venezuelan Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum. He was played in the minors for the Buffalo Bisons, Oklahoma City 89ers, Peninsula Whips, in Venezuela for Caracas Metropolitanos, Llaneros de Portuguesa, Navegantes del Magallanes, Tiburones de la Guaira, and in Mexico for Cardenales de Villahermoso. So this was the end of his MLB career, but he had a long, very successful career playing baseball in Venezuela. Remy Angel Hermoso. Luis Alvarado played some second base. Alvarado batted .219 with 25 hits. He scored 12 runs, 2 doubles, 12 RBIs, a stolen base, 6 walks in 61 games. Alvarado was born in 1949 in Lajas, Puerto Rico, and he died in 2001 in Lajas at age 52. Alvarado during his career batted .214 with 5 home runs and 84 RBIs. He played for the Boston Red Sox, Chicago White Sox, St. Louis Cardinals, and Cleveland Indians, New York Mets, and Detroit Tigers from 1968 to 1977. They called him Pimba. 1969 in the minors for the Louisville Colonels, he led the International League with 89 runs scored and 166 hits, and was the MVP. Died of a heart attack at age 52, tragic. In Mexico, he played for Cacheros de León, Diablos Rojos del Mexico, and Leones de Yucatan, Sultanes de Monterrey. In the minors for the Hawaii Islanders, Louisville Colonels, and Tulsa Oilers. I remember 2 games of Alvarado. One game, there was at the stadium, a strong wind coming in from center field. And Alvarado hit the ball really hard. Joe Tate really described it well. It was a long fly ball to the center field fence, but caught. Would have been a home run without the strong wind. Another game, Alvarado was going for an inside-the-park home run, was thrown out at the plate. Tremendous player, Luis Alvarado. Joe List played some first base. List batted .202 with 22 hits. He scored 15 runs, 3 doubles, 6 home runs, 16 RBIs, a stolen base, 14 walks in 57 games. Joe List was born in 1946 in Somerville, New Jersey, and he died in 2010 in Evansville, Indiana at age 64. During his playing career, he batted .233 with 32 home runs and 92 RBIs. List played for the Philadelphia Phillies, Minnesota Twins, Cleveland Indians, Seattle Mariners, and Kintetsu Buffaloes in Japan from 1970 to 1978. He played first base, left field, right field, third base, also catcher in one game, mostly first baseman. Power hitter in the minors. 3 seasons, he had 33-plus home runs. He was the International League MVP in '76. After he retired, he was a coach in youth baseball for 30 years, and general manager of the Evansville Wolfpack. He had an 18-year-old. Well, he was the GM of the Evansville Wolfpack, and it was an 18-year-old travel team, which he owned and operated the Joe List Baseball School, which he started in 1991. He worked for the James R. Pyle Insurance Agency as well, and died of prostate cancer. The minors, List played for the Eugene Emeralds, Evansville Triplets, Iowa Oaks, Oklahoma City 89ers, Toledo Mudhens, and Tidewater Tides, and Venezuela for Leones de Caracas. Regarding his Joe List Baseball School, List said, quote, "I teach kids what the good hitters taught me, the things that Rico Carty and Harmon Killebrew taught me, or tried to teach me when I was playing. I don't mind telling you I am the best batting coach there is. I watch more than 1 million swings every year in my school. One of the reasons the kids like my school is because I know what it's like to be 6 years old. Actually, I'm a senior citizen going on 22. I tell the kids I didn't play much, but I always played hard, and most of the time I had fun. I know what it's like to make mistakes because I've made lots of them. I've been booed by 55,000 fans in a ballpark, and I've screwed up in front of 55 million more on television. But you can't let it get you down. You have to keep trying hard." His first game with the Tribe, he hit a home run to help Gaylord Perry beat Kansas City, and Perry paid him $25 for that clutch hit. List had a clutch hit helping the Tribe win a game against the White Sox on June 17th, 4-3. After the game, List said, quote, "You never know when you're going to be the hero. That's what takes the dullness out of a game." Joe List. Tommy McCraw played some first base and outfield. McCraw batted .304 with 34 hits. He scored 17 runs, 8 doubles, 3 home runs, 17 RBIs, 5 walks in 45 games. McCraw was with Cleveland in 1972 and from 1974 to 1975. Tommy McCraw. Rico Carty was a designated hitter. Carty batted .363 with 33 hits. He scored 6 runs, 5 doubles, a home run, 16 RBIs, 5 walks in 33 games. Rico Carty was born on September 1st, 1939 in Consuelo, San Pedro de Macorís, Dominican Republic. The day the Second World War started with the German invasion of Poland. He's 80 years old in 2019. During his playing career, he batted .299 with 204 home runs and 890 RBIs. Carty played for the Milwaukee Braves, Atlanta Braves, Texas Rangers, Chicago Cubs, Oakland A's, Cleveland Indians, and Toronto Blue Jays from 1963 to 1979. He was an All-Star in 1970, and that same year he won the National League batting title. With the Braves, they called him Big Boy or Big Mon. He hit .366 in 1970. His career was marked by battles with injuries, illness, including tuberculosis, and conflict with teammates. He was an excellent hitter with poor defensive skills. In '64, he was second in the National League in batting at .330 behind Roberto Clemente, and second in the Rookie of the Year voting behind Dick Allen. He missed the entire '68 season with tuberculosis. In '69, he won a National League West title with the Braves. In 1970, he had a 31-game hitting streak. He also had a crushed knee injury. In the Dominican Republic, missed the entire '71 season. Playing for the Braves, he had conflict with Henry Aaron and with the Cubs, Ron Santo. He was playing for Mexico when signed by Cleveland, and his career revived. In the '64-'65 off-season, there was civil war in his home country, the Dominican Republic. Carty tried to help with the Catholic relief services with clothing and supplies for those in need. In 1996, he was inducted into the Caribbean Baseball Hall of Fame. In the minors, Carty played for the Eau Claire Bears. In the Dominican Republic for Águilas Cibaeñas, Leones del Escogido, and Tigres del Licey. In Mexico for Cafeteros de Cordoba. In Venezuela for Tigres de Aragua. He was purchased by the Tribe on August 17, '74 from Cafeteros de Cordoba in Mexico. And Carty's, he had 25 hits in his first 44 at-bats for the Tribe for an average of .455. Really something. Rico Carty. Ed Crosby played some infield. Crosby batted .209 with 18 hits. He scored 11 runs, 3 doubles, 6 RBIs, 6 walks in 37 games. Crosby was born in 1949 in Long Beach, California. And he's 70 years old in 2019. For his career, he batted .220 with 44 RBIs. Crosby played for the St. Louis Cardinals, Cincinnati Reds, and Cleveland Indians from 1970 to 1976. He batted left and threw right. His son Bobby Crosby had an 8-year MLB career and was 2004 American League Rookie of the Year. In the minors, Crosby played for the Arkansas Travelers, Wichita Arrows, and Oklahoma City 89ers. After his career, he worked as a scout for the Baltimore Orioles. Ed Crosby. Chris Chambliss played some first base, or was the starting first baseman for 17 games. Chambliss batted .328 with 22 hits. He scored 8 runs, 4 doubles, 7 RBIs, 5 walks in 17 games. Chambliss was with Cleveland from 1971 to 1974. This was the end of his time in Cleveland. His MLB career continued until 1988 with the Yankees, and as an MLB coach until 2012 with the Seattle Mariners. Chris Chambliss was traded by the Tribe on April 26, 1974 with Dick Tidrow and Cecil Upshaw to the New York Yankees for Fritz Peterson, Steve Klein, Fred Bean, and Tom Buskey. Chris Chambliss. Frank Robinson was a designated hitter. Robinson batted .200 with 10 hits. He scored 6 runs, had a double, a triple, 2 home runs, 5 RBIs, 10 walks in 15 games. Robinson was born in 1935 in Beaumont, Texas, and died in 2019 in Los Angeles, California at age 83. During his playing career, he batted .294 with 586 home runs. Wow. 1,812 RBIs, 2,943 hits. Robinson played for the Cincinnati Redlegs, the Cincinnati Reds, Baltimore Orioles, LA Dodgers, California Angels, and Cleveland Indians from 1956 to 1976. As an MLB manager, he won 1,065 games, lost 1,176 games for a winning percentage of .475. He was a manager for the Cleveland Indians, San Francisco Giants, Baltimore Orioles, Montreal Expos, and Washington Nationals. From 1975 to 2006, Robinson was a coach for the California Angels, Baltimore Orioles, and Milwaukee Brewers from 1977 to 1987. As a player, he was a 14-time All-Star in 1956, 57, 59, 61, from 65 to 67, from 69 to 71, and in 74. He won 2 World Series titles in 66 and 70 with the Orioles. He was a National League MVP in 61 with the Reds, American League MVP in 66 with the Orioles. He was a World Series MVP in 1966. The same year, he won the Triple Crown. He was a National League Rookie of the Year in 56 and won a Gold Glove in 58. He was American League Manager of the Year in 89 with the Orioles. His number 20 was retired by the Cincinnati Reds, Baltimore Orioles, and the Cleveland Indians. He's in the Reds, Orioles, and Indians Halls of Fame, in the Washington National Ring of Honor. He's in the Baseball Hall of Fame, inducted in 82. Robinson was the only player to be MVP in both leagues. He was the first black manager in MLB in 75 with the Tribe. His 586 career home runs was 4th all-time when he retired, and currently 10th all-time. He was high school baseball teammates of Veda Pinson and Kurt Flood, and high school basketball teammate of Bill Russell. September 12, 74, he was traded by the Angels to the Tribe for Ken Suarez and Rusty Torres. In 2006, as manager for the Nationals, he pulled catcher Matt LaCroix in the middle of the half inning. LaCroix, as catcher, had given up 7 stolen bases and made 2 errors. And after the game, Robinson had regret because he had a lot of respect for LaCroix, and he cried in the post-game interview because he violated the unwritten rule that you don't take out a player during the half inning, which actually happened to me in Little League. In '66, Robinson won the Hickok belt as the top athlete in any sport. There's a statue of Robinson in Cincinnati at the Great American Ballpark, erected in 2003, and moved to the Baltimore Oriole Park at Camden Yards in 2012. There's also a statue of him at Progressive Field that was erected in 2017. In 2005 and 2006, in Sports Illustrated player polls, Robinson was voted the worst manager in baseball. 2005, he won the Presidential Medal of Freedom given by U.S. President George W. Bush. Robinson died of bone cancer in 2019. Now, after that September 12th trade to the Tribe, there was immediate conflict between Robinson and Gaylord Perry. I'm reading a fine book. The title is Frank Robinson, a Baseball Biography by John C. Skipper, 2015. Again, Robinson was the first black manager in both the American League and the National League. He was hit by the pitch 198 times, 9th all-time. John Flaherty, an American League umpire for 21 years, said, quote, "Frank Robinson was the hardest working ball player I ever saw. He never loafed on the ball field. Frank Robinson said, quote, "I am not a fancy guy, not a glamour boy. All that I am is an uncomplicated, single-minded guy, and my single-mindedness is baseball." Robinson, as a youth, had a baseball coach named George Powles. Robinson said, quote, "The biggest thing he gave me and the youth of Oakland was he taught us how to lose and accept it. Not be happy about it, but how to accept it graciously. We all can't win all the time, and you have to be able to accept defeat and build from that." Robinson's father died when he was 8 years old. He was the youngest of 10 children. In '54, in the minors in the Red system in Columbia, South Carolina, there was a game in the South. There were racial taunts from the fans. And then that was tough. And Robinson developed a mantra, quote, "Have a good year and get out of here." He was dealing with Jim Crow, segregation in the South. '56 was his rookie MLB season with the Cincinnati Reds. Gabe Paul was the GM, and the manager was Bertie Tebbetts. His teammate was Gus Bell, father of Buddy Bell. On opening day, his first MLB at bat, he hit a double off the wall, and then he went into a slump and was benched and sat next to Bertie Tebbetts, who talked to him. Robinson said, quote, "Bertie taught me to study the opposition and to think ahead, to anticipate what the opposing manager or players might do in a particular situation. That very first year, when I was only 20, he made me see how important it is to stay on top of things, to never allow yourself to be surprised by an opponent." Now, every home run Robinson hit that year, he got a free piece of apple pie in the Mance Hotel in Cincinnati. His 38 home runs tied a National League rookie record. He led the National League in runs scored 122 and hit by the pitch 20. Again, his rookie year. He liked to crowd the plate. And he was Rookie of the Year. In '58, Veda Pinson became Robinson's team, who was his high school teammate, joined the Reds. And John C. Skipper wrote, quote, "Frank Robinson finally had a friend on the team, reasonably close to his age, with a similar background. Pinson filled a huge void in his life as a ball player. He finally had a close friend, a pal." April of '58, there was an exhibition game. He was hit by the pitch in the head, and during the season, he hit poorly. He said, quote, "I was scared to death. The fear in my subconscious was excruciating." But he was able to overcome that. In August, the Reds were 52-61 in last place, and Bertie Tebbetts was fired. Robinson said, quote, "Bertie was like a father to me. He was a patient, gentle man. When I made a mistake, he would take me aside and explain what I had done wrong. I was shocked and very upset when Bertie was fired." So Jimmy Dykes was the new Reds manager. In '59, Fred Hutchinson was the manager. In 1961, by '61, Gabe Paul had gone to Houston. Robinson called that that loss, quote, a loss of a friend and a mentor. In '61, he won a National League title with the Reds and was NL MVP. In the World Series against the Yankees won 4-1. Game 4, Robinson was hit by the pitch twice. His teammate was Leo Cardenas, one of his teammates. In '63, Pete Rose was a Reds rookie. They called him Charlie Hustle. However, he was mocked and became an outcast on the Reds. He was befriended by Frank Robinson and Veda Pinson. '64, the Reds manager Fred Hutchinson had terminal cancer. He died in November after the season. Phil Segui was the assistant GM that year. By December of '65, Robinson was traded to the Baltimore Orioles for Milt Pappas, this was mentioned in the '88 movie Bull Durham, where the character played by Susan Sarandon said, quote, "Bad trades are a part of baseball. Now who can forget Frank Robinson for Milt Pappas, for God's sake?" ESPN.com in 2001 rated the trade the 7th worst trade of all time in the history of sports. May of '66, Robinson hit the first home run out of Baltimore's Memorial Stadium off Tribe pitcher Louis Tiant. In August, there was a team party, and Robinson didn't know how to swim, and he nearly drowned in a swimming pool. '66, he won the MVP for the Triple Crown and MVP in the American League. And the Orioles swept the LA Dodgers in the World Series 4-0, and Robinson was World Series MVP. Winter of '68, he was manager for the Santurce Crabbers in Puerto Rico. He was learning how to be a manager. And his guys on his team included Jim Palmer, Elrod Hendricks, Paul Blair, teammates on the Orioles, and George Scott. He won a title, and Jim Palmer threw a no-hitter in Puerto Rico for him. Robinson Frank Robinson said, quote, "I learned you can't handle men as a group. You handle them as individuals. Some guys don't play well if they're not praised. Some you got to kick in the tail. Some you don't have to say a word to. You must accept the criticism of the press and the fans. It's easy to take bows when things are going well, but the thing is to keep your head up when they're not." 69, he won an American League title with the Orioles, but they lost to the Mets in the World Series, 4-1. The offseason, again, he was back in Santurce as a manager. And one of his pitchers was Fred Bean, who threw a no-hitter in Puerto Rico. He won an American in 70. He won an American League title with the Orioles, and they won the World Series. 71, an American League title with the Orioles, and they lost the World Series, Orioles, in 7 games to the Pirates. December of 71, he was traded to the L.A. Dodgers. And then later, in the following year, he was traded to the California Angels. And yet, his teammate included Clyde Wright, the father of Jarrett Wright, who was a Tribe hero in 97. September 12th, he was traded to the Tribe, and there was talk that he would be the manager of the Tribe in 75. And of course, this conflict with Gaylord Perry. After the season, on October 3rd of 74, he was named Tribe player manager for the 75 season, the first African-American MLB manager. Frank Robinson. Ozzie Blanco played some first base. Blanco batted .194 with 7 hits. He scored a run, had 2 RBIs, 7 walks in 18 games. Blanco was born in 1945 in Caracas, Venezuela, and he's 74 years old in 2019. During his career, he batted .196 with 20 hits and 102 at-bats. He played for the Chicago White Sox in 1970 and the Cleveland Indians in 74. 2015, he was inducted into the Venezuelan Baseball Hall of Fame. Venezuela, he played for Águilas del Zulia, Caracas Metropolitanos, Estrellas Orientales, Indios de Oriente, Llaneros de Acarigua, Llaneros de Portuguesa, Navegantes de Magallanes, and Tiburones de La Guaira. And in Mexico, he played for Cafeteros de Cordoba, Pericos de Puebla. In the minors, he played for the Oklahoma City 89ers, the Tucson Toros, and the Wichita Arrows. Ozzie Blanco. Tommy Smith played some outfield. Smith batted .097 with 3 hits and 31 at-bats. He scored 4 runs, had a double, walked twice in 23 games. Smith was with Cleveland from 1973 to 1976. Tommy Smith. Dwayne Kuiper played some second base. Kuiper batted .500 with 11 hits and 22 at-bats. He scored 7 runs, had 2 doubles, 4 RBIs, a stolen base, 2 walks in 10 games. Kuiper was born in 1915 in Racine, Wisconsin. Reminds me of the movie A League of Their Own, where there's a scene where the gal says, "I've been traded to Racine." Kuiper is 69 years old in 2019. During his career, he batted .271 with 1 home run and 263 RBIs and 971 hits. Kuiper played for the Cleveland Indians, San Francisco Giants from 1974 to 1985. He was a broadcaster for the San Francisco Giants from 1986 to 1992, and from 1994 to the present in 2019. He was a Colorado Rockies broadcaster in 93. Kuiper won the Emmy Award 7 times for his work on the radio with broadcasting for the Giants. With his partner is former MLB pitcher Mike Krukow, and they called the two fellows Kruk and Kipe. Kuiper grew up on a 300-acre farm in Wisconsin. He was a slap hitter, above-average fielder. He led the American League second baseman in fielding percentage in 76 and 79. His only career home run was hit on August 29, 1977, off of Steve Stone. He has the MLB record for most career at-bats with only 1 home run. And the game was on national TV, and there's a video of it, in which the Giants show from time to time, poking fun at Kuiper. 2014, there was a Dwayne Kuiper home run bobblehead night for the Giants Tribe game. On May 30th, 77, Kuiper scored the only run in Dennis Eckersley's no-hitter. July 27th of 78 at Yankee Stadium, Kuiper had 2 bases-loaded triple. Only one of 3 players to accomplish that in MLB history in one game. Elmer Vallo in 1949 and Bill Bruton in 59. Kuiper called Barry Bonds' 756 career home runs. He said, quote, 3 balls and 2 strikes. Backsick deals. And Bonds hits one high, hits one deep. It is out of here. 7:56. Bonds stands alone. He also called the last out of the 2010 World Series when the San Francisco Giants won their first title. And he said, quote, "This group is celebrating for the Say Hey Kid, for Will the Thrill, for number 25. That's Barry Bonds. Celebrating for all you Giants fans wherever you are. This party is just getting started." Kuiper's younger brother, Glenn Kuiper, is the Oakland A's broadcaster. Kuiper's a cousin of Dick Bosman. In the minors, he played for the Oklahoma City 89ers and the Reno Silver Sox in Venezuela for Tigres de Aragua. Regarding his one career home run, Kuiper said, quote, "One home run is better than none, but any more than that and people start expecting them." Kuiper got the only hit in 3 one-hitters. Andy Hassler in 77, Nolan Ryan in 78, and Ron Guidry in 78. Actually, it was a 2-hitter. Kuiper had both hits. He was traded by the Tribe in 1981 to the San Francisco Giants. Kuiper said, quote, "When I went to San Francisco, I left my heart in Cleveland." Now, back in the day, rookies were treated differently than they are now. Kuiper said, quote, "Rookies were treated differently then than they are now. Gaylord Perry would say, 'Kid, go get me a cup of coffee.' I'd get him a cup of coffee. Then he'd taste it and say, 'Not enough sugar.' And he'd pour it on the floor. This would go on 2-3 times until he decided that you had paid your dues. It wasn't just Gaylord, it was most veterans. Dwayne Kuiper. Johnny Jeter played some left field. Jeter batted .353 with 6 hits and 17 at-bats. He scored 3 runs, had a double, an RBI, a stolen base, a walk in 6 games. Jeter was born in 1944 in Shreveport, Louisiana. And he's 74 years old in 2019. During his career, he batted .244 with 18 home runs and 69 RBIs. Jeter played for the Pittsburgh Pirates, San Diego Padres, Chicago White Sox, and Cleveland Indians from 1969 to 1974. MLB outfielder Sean Jeter is his son. In the minors, he played for the Columbus Jets, Iowa Oaks, Macon Peaches. In Mexico for Alejadores de Tampico. In Venezuela for Cardenales de Lara and Tiburones de la Guaira. And he played for the Grambling State University Tigers baseball team. Johnny Jeter. Jack Heidemann played some infield. Heidemann batted .091 with 1 hit and 11 at-bats. He scored 2 runs in 12 games. Heidemann was with Cleveland from 1969 to 1974. This was the end of his time in Cleveland. His MLB career continued until 1977. On June 1st, 1974, Heidemann was traded to the St. Louis Cardinals for Louis Alvarado and Ed Crosby. Jack Heidemann. Alan Ashby batted .143 with 1 hit and 7 at-bats. He scored a run, had a walk in 10 games. Ashby was with Cleveland from 1973 to 1976. Al Ashby. Dwayne Anderson played some second base. Anderson batted .333 with 1 hit and 3 at-bats in 2 games. Anderson was born in 1947 in Oakland, California, and he's 71 years old in 2019. For his career, he batted .203 with 1 home run and 14 RBIs. Anderson played for the Oakland A's, St. Louis Cardinals, San Diego Padres, and Cleveland Indians from 1971 to 1974. The minors, he played for the Iowa Oaks. 1970, he led the Double-A league with 3 grand slams. Now, MLB, he has the MLB post-1920 non-pitcher record for most career at-bats without an extra base hit. 124 at-bats, and all of his hits are singles. In 72, he was on the 72 Topps All-Star Rookie Team. The minors, he played for the Burlington Bees, Peninsula Grays, Iowa Oaks, Tidewater Tides, and Oklahoma City 89ers. Dwayne Anderson. Larry Doby Johnson was a spare catcher. Johnson did not bat. He scored a run. He got in a game as a pinch runner. Johnson was with Cleveland in 1972 and in 1974. This was the end of his time in Cleveland. His MLB career continued until 1978. Larry Doby Johnson. Now with the Tribe pitchers, Gaylord Perry was the ace pitcher. Perry was 21-13 with an ERA of 2.51, 37 games, all starts, 28 complete games, 4 shutouts, 322 and a third innings pitched, and 216 strikeouts. Perry was with Cleveland from 1972 to 1975. He played on the 1974 American League All-Star team and was the starting pitcher. He was the 74 Cleveland Indians Man of the Year. Perry had a 15-game winning streak in 74, which ended in Oakland on a 10th-inning Claudell Washington game-winning RBI single. He tied Johnny Allen, who had the 1937 set the club record with 15 straight wins. Terry Pluto wrote, quote, Gaylord Perry would say up front that he planned to pitch a great game. Now, were you man enough to play a great game behind him? And if you didn't, it was known in the Cleveland clubhouse that Perry had enough clout with young manager Ken Aspromonte that he could make sure you sat when he pitched. When umpires would check Perry for illegal substances, Pluto wrote, quote, Gaylord might hand the umpire his cap, which the fans loved, because Perry was as bald as an egg on top. Through it all, he smiled. June 22nd, Perry was 13-1 with an ERA of 1.28. June 28th was a Friday night at the stadium. Tribe Red Sox, Gaylord Perry going for his 14th win in a row. 33,020 fans. There was a 1-hour rain delay. In the bottom of the ninth, it was 1-1. Leron Lee walked, and there was a walk-off double by George Hendrick. Lee scored, and the Tribe won that game 2-1. 14th in a row. Perry said this about the big crowd, quote, it means a lot to the whole organization. It does something to the young guys on our ball club. It makes them drive. Now they know what happens if they get praise and recognition. July 8th, he was going for the 16th straight in Oakland against the A's. And he struck out Sal Bando for his 2,199th career strikeout, put him 18th all-time, moving him past Grover Cleveland Alexander. In 74, Gaylord Perry's book, published with co-author Bob Sudik, came out, Me and the Spitter. Gaylord Perry. Gaylord's brother Jim Perry was 17-12 with an ERA of 2.96. 36 games, all starts, 8 complete games, 3 shutouts, 252 in the third innings pitched, and 71 strikeouts. Perry was with Cleveland from 1959 to 1963. From 1974 to 1975, so he was back after an 11-year absence. So the top of the Tribe rotation was the two brothers, Gaylord and Jim Perry. And Jim Perry and his brother Gaylord were co-winners of the Cleveland Indians Man of the Year. June 27th, Jim Perry got his 200th career victory, 2-1 against the Red Sox. Perry said, quote, sure, it means a lot. It's great and I'm happy, but it's just good to beat the club on top. Tomorrow we've got to go out and win another one. Perry was referred to by Jim Clark as Commodore Perry, a reference to Commodore Oliver Perry from the War of 1812. Jim Perry. Fritz Peterson was 9-14 with an ERA of 4.36. 29 games, all starts, 3 complete games, 152 and 2/3 innings pitched, and 52 strikeouts. Peterson was born in 1942 in Chicago, Illinois, and he's 77 years old in 2019. During his career, he was 133 and 131 with an ERA of 3.30 and 1,015 strikeouts. Peterson pitched for the New York Yankees, Cleveland Indians, and Texas Rangers from 1966 to 1976. He was an all-star in 70 with the Yankees. And that year he was 20-11. He had the lowest ratio of base on balls for innings pitched from any left-hand pitcher since the 1920s. Peterson has the lowest ERA all-time at Yankee Stadium, 2.52. Second is Whitey Ford at 2.55. He was the starting pitcher in the last game at Yankee Stadium in 73 before the renovation. He was a color commentator for the New York Raiders in the World Hockey Association during the 72-73 season. Peterson worked as a blackjack dealer at the Grand Victoria Casino in Elgin, Illinois. He's the author of the book Mickey Mantle is Going to Heaven, which came out in 2009. He wrote, quote, Peterson wrote, quote, he, quote, plans to meet Mantle there and talk about old times. Maury Allen said, quote, Fritz's book is better than Boughton's Ball 4. Peterson also wrote the book The Art of Deconditioning, Eating Your Way to Heaven, and another book, When the Yankees Were on the Fritz, Revisiting the Horace Clarke Era. He recovered from prostate cancer twice. Peterson's a strong Christian and a joker. He created a fake Baseball Hall of Fame stationery and asked Moose, and then wrote a letter asking Moose Skowron to donate his pacemaker after he died to the Hall of Fame. Peterson's a regular attendee at the Yankee Fantasy Camp in Florida and Yankees Old Timers games. In 2018, he announced on Facebook that he has Alzheimer's disease. Minors, he played for the Columbus Confederate Yankees. Now, I'm reading this fine book, Mickey Mantle is Going to Heaven, Fritz Peterson, 2009. Fritz Peterson wrote, quote, "It was truly an honor to have played with Mickey Mantle as my teammate for 3 years and to have been the starting pitcher for the Yankees on the day that he hit his last Major League home run. I found out from Bobby Richardson that Mickey had indeed accepted Jesus Christ as his Lord and Savior." Regarding Bobby Mercer's brain tumor and fatal illness, Peterson quoted the Bible in the book of Deuteronomy, quote, "Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or terrified because of them, for the Lord your God goes with you. He will never leave you or forsake you." Peterson wrote, quote, "That verse became Bobby Mercer's personal mantra up to the last day he spent on earth." Mercer died in 2008. His last radio appearance of Mercer said, quote, "God has just blessed me. What can I say?" In 73, a few days after the news came out of the Fritz Peterson, Mike Kekich, that they had traded wives. News came out in spring training. Peterson was in St. Petersburg, Florida, and he went up to the bat in a game. And he wrote, quote, "The entire stadium rose to their feet and booed. It was a reverse Lou Gehrig feeling. I considered myself the unluckiest man on the face of the earth. I feel that I will be one of the 100% that will eventually call heaven home." The Horace Clarke era for the Yankees went from 1967 to 1973. Bad times for Yankee fans and players as well. I know, I was there for the whole thing. We're all equal in God's eyes. After all, we were all created by Him in the first place. Now, Peterson talked. There has been discussion about a possible movie about when Peterson and Mike Kekich they fell in love with each other's wives and ended up exchanging wives. And the talk is that Ben Affleck and Matt Damon would play Peterson and Kekich. Peterson said, quote, "I should have asked Warner Brothers to have Kathy Bates play my first wife, Marilyn." John Ellis was our enforcer. It sure was a nice feeling having John Ellis by my side when things got tough. I never was a fighter, but always had respect for people who were. Despite John Ellis's brute strength, he was just about the smartest person I ever knew. He also called the best game behind the home plate that I ever experienced, even better than Thurman Munson. John Ellis had his best years in Cleveland. It was really fun being with him there, and baseball actually became fun again for a while. Cleveland was a really nice place to play, and with John having good years, it made a big difference. I even won 10 straight games there in one stretch. It was like playing summer ball again. Fritz Peterson. Dick Bosman was 7-5 with an ERA of 4.10, 25 games, 18 starts, 2 complete games, a shutout, 127 and a third innings pitched, and 56 strikeouts. Bosman was with Cleveland from 1973 to 1975. On July 19th, he threw a no-hitter at the Cleveland Municipal Stadium against the Oakland A's. Tribe won 4-0. Russell Schneider wrote, quote, "Dick Bosman said he learned more about pitching from his manager Ted Williams than from anyone else." Bosman said, quote, "Ted Williams, because Ted Williams was such a great hitter. Who should know better than the man who probably was the greatest hitter in the game? I owe a great deal to Ted Williams. I enjoyed my pitching career, but I enjoy coaching even more. There's something about teaching that really turns me on. When I'm coaching, teaching, the words just come out. Many of them from Ted Williams, I'm sure. I thank God for those who had such a positive impact on me in my career, including manager Kenny Aspermonte, who fought for me. In spring training of '74, Aspermonte said to Bosman, quote, "I'm going to do everything I can to keep you on this club. I like your attitude, and I know you're a winner." Now, he had his no-hitter on July 19th. Joe List had a 2-run home run in the 4th inning. Now, there was a play, Sal Bando hit a ground ball dribbler to Bosman, who threw the ball wide to first baseman Tom McCraw for an error, and Bando was the only base runner. Frank Duffy, Buddy Bell, Charlie Spikes all made good plays to help preserve the no-hitter. The 9th, Dick Green hit a ground ball to Bell and for the out, and then Jesus Alou had a grounder to Jack Brohammer. Billy North struck out swinging to end the game. Bosman threw 79 pitches and faced 28 batters. Ted Levengood wrote, quote, Dick Bosman gave Tribe fans something to cheer about in 1974 other than cheap beer. Regarding his no-hitter, Bosman said, quote, I was determined to do what Gaylord Perry always said, go as hard as you can as long as you can. During the no-hitter, Bosman was wearing a Catfish Hunter undershirt. Bosman said, quote, it turned up in my laundry bag a couple years ago, and I just kept it. Ken Aspermonte said, quote, the no-hitter couldn't have come at a better time, and it couldn't have happened to a more deserving guy. After the no-hitter, A's Billy North was asked what it's like to be no-hitting Cleveland, and North said, quote, all hell, it's like losing 10-9. The next night, the Tribe beat the A's 10-9, and a reporter said to North, is getting beat 10-9 just like getting no-hit? And Joe Tate said, quote, that was priceless. Dick Bosman. Steve Kline was 3-8 with an ERA of 5.07. 16 games, 11 starts, a complete game, 71 innings pitched, and 17 strikeouts. Kline was born in 1947 in Wenatchee, Wisconsin, and he died in 2018 in Chelan, Washington, at age 70. For his career, he was 43-45 with an ERA of 3.26 and 240 strikeouts. Kline pitched for the New York Yankees, Cleveland Indians, and Atlanta Braves from 1970 to 1977. His best year was in 72 with the Yankees. He won 16 games. He was a pitching coach for Wenatchee High School. In the minors, he played for the Toledo Mud Hens and Binghamton Triplets. Steve Kline. Tom Buskey was the closer. Buskey was 2-6 with an ERA of 3.19, 51 games, 17 saves, 93 innings pitched, and 40 strikeouts. Buskey was born in 1947 in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and he died in 1998 in Harrisburg at age 51. During his career, he played for the New York Yankees, Cleveland Indians, and Toronto Blue Jays from 1973 to 1980. He was 6'3", 200 pounds. They called him Husky Buskey. He had 34 career saves and 8 years in the minors. In Venezuela, he played for Leones de Caracas. After he retired, he worked for the Susquehanna Employment and Training Corporation and contributed which contributes to the technical and career needs of special education folks. He died of a heart attack. In the minors, Buskey played for the Toledo Mud Hens. Tom Buskey. My dad used to like to complain about him. Oh, that Buskey. Fred Bean was 4-4 with an ERA of 4.93, 32 games, 2 saves, 73 1/3 innings pitched, and 35 strikeouts. He got in one game as a pinch runner. Fred Bean was born in 1942 in Angleton, Texas, and he's 76 years old in 2019. For his career, he was 12-7 with an ERA of 3.63 and 156 strikeouts and 288 innings pitched. Bean pitched for the Baltimore Orioles, New York Yankees, and Cleveland Indians from 1968 to 1975. He was 5'9" and 155 pounds. Got in 112 MLB games, all but 6 in relief. He was a middle reliever, had 8 saves in his career. 20 seasons he was a scout for the Milwaukee Brewers. He drafted Jim Morris in 1983, who made his MLB debut in 1999. And the life of Jim Morris was the basis for the movie The Rookie, which came out in 2012, played by Dennis Quaid. The minors, Bean played for the Hawaii Islanders, Toledo Mud Hens, Oklahoma City 89ers, Elmira Pioneers. He played college baseball for the Sam Houston State Bearcats. In 2002, Bean saw the movie The Rookie and realized the story about Jimmy Morris was the player that Bean had scouted and signed with the Brewers in '83. And then Bean's name appears in the credits at the end of the movie. Bean said, quote, I knew Morris had some arm trouble and was released by the Brewers. I lost track of him and didn't know Tampa Bay signed him. And I sure didn't know that his story was made into a movie until I saw the movie. Bean with the Yankees in 1972 was 6-0 with an ERA of 1.68, 91 innings pitched in 19 games. Fred Bean. Milt Wilcox was 2-2 with an ERA of 4.67. 41 games, 2 starts, a complete game, 4 saves, 71 1/3 innings pitched, and 33 strikeouts. So he'd been gone from a starter to a reliever. Wilcox was with Cleveland from 1972 to 1974. This was the end of his time in Cleveland. His MLB career continued until 1986. On February 25th, 75, he was traded by the Tribe to the Chicago Cubs for Dave LaRoche and Brock Davis. Milt Wilcox. Tom Hilgendorf was 4-3 with an ERA of 4.84, 35 games, 3 saves, 48 and a third innings pitched, and 23 strikeouts. Hilgendorf was with Cleveland from 1972 to 1974. This was the end of his time in Cleveland. His MLB career continued until 1975. On March 11th, 75, he was traded by the Tribe to the Philadelphia Phillies for Nelly Garcia. Tom Hilgendorf. Bruce Ellingson was 1-1 with an ERA of 3.21, 16 games, 2 starts, 42 innings pitched, and 16 strikeouts. Ellingson was born in 1949 in Pocatello, Idaho, and he's 70 years old in 2019. His MLB career was just with Cleveland in 74. He was traded by the LA Dodgers to the Tribe on April 3rd, 74 for Pedro Guerrero, who went on to have 215 career home runs, 11 seasons, a career 300 batting average, 5-time All-Star for the Dodgers. The minors, Ellingson played for the Albuquerque Dukes, Oklahoma City 89ers, and Ogden Dodgers. Bruce Ellingson. Bob Johnson was 3-4 with an ERA of 4.38, 14 games, 10 starts, 72 innings pitched, and 36 strikeouts. Johnson was born in 1943 in Aurora, Illinois, and he's 76 years old in 2019. During his career, he was 28-34 with an ERA of 3.48 and 507 strikeouts. Johnson pitched for the New York Mets, Kansas City Royals, Pittsburgh Pirates, Cleveland Indians, and Atlanta Braves from 1969 to 1977. He won 2 World Series titles in 69 with the Mets and in 71 with the Pirates. In the 71 NLCS Game 3, Johnson was a starting pitcher against Juan Marichal. He went 8 innings and only gave up a run and got the win. In the minors, he played for the Columbus Clippers, Memphis Blues, Tidewater Tides, and Oklahoma City 89ers. In Venezuela for Tiburones de la Guaira. Bob Johnson. Steve Arlen was 2-5 with an ERA of 6.60. 11 games, 10 starts, a complete game, 43 2/3 innings pitched, and 20 strikeouts. Arlen was born in 1945 in Seattle, Washington, and died in 2016 in San Diego, California at age 70. For his career, he was 34-67 with an ERA of 4.33 and 463 strikeouts. Arlen pitched for the San Diego Padres and Cleveland Indians from 1969 to 1974. He played on the Ohio State Buckeyes baseball team and got into the College World Series in 65. And in 66, he won a College World Series title and was MVP. 65, he got 165 strikeouts for the 65 OSU baseball team, which is a school record. His number 21 was retired by Ohio State. In 78, he was inducted in the OSU Varsity Wall of Fame. He's in the College Baseball Hall of Fame in 2008. 67 in the minors, he had a no-hitter. He led the National League in losses with 19 in 1971 and 21 in 1972. For the 72 Padres, were on a weak team, Arlen had a one-hitter and 3 two-hitters, and a no-hitter for 8 2/3 innings, which was broken up by Denny Doyle. Arlen was traded to the Tribe mid-season 74 for Brent Strom and Terry Lay. After he retired, he worked as a dentist. His grandfather, Harold Arlen, was the first broadcaster on an MLB game on the radio in 1921 Phillies Pirates game. And the first ever football game on the radio for college, Pitt against West Virginia, in 1921. In the minors, Steve Arlen played for the Bakersfield Bears, Columbus Jets, Salt Lake City Bees, and Tidewater Tides. Steve Arlen. Dick Tidrow was 1-3 with an ERA of 7.11. 4 games, all starts, 19 innings pitched, and 8 strikeouts. Tidrow was with Cleveland from 1972 to 1974. This was the end of his time in Cleveland. His MLB career continued until 1984. He was traded by the Tribe on April 26, 74 to the Yankees with Chris Chambliss and Cecil Upshaw for Fritz Peterson, Steve Klein, Fred Bean, and Tom Buskey. Dick Tidrow. Jim Kern was 0-1 with an ERA of 4.70. 4 games, 3 starts, a complete game, 15 1/3 innings pitched, and 11 strikeouts. Kern was born in 1949 in Gladwin, Michigan, and he's 70 years old in 2019. For his career, he was 53-57 with an ERA of 3.32, 651 strikeouts, and 88 saves. Kern pitched for the Cleveland Indians, Texas Rangers, Cincinnati Reds, Chicago White Sox, Philadelphia Phillies, Milwaukee Brewers, and back with the Tribe from 1974 to 1986. He was a three-time All-Star from 77 to 79. He won the American League Rolaids Relief Man Award in 79, was 13-5 with an ERA of 1.57 and 29 saves with the Rangers. He served in the U.S. Marine Corps. The 74 Oklahoma City 89ers. He won the Allie Reynolds Award as the best pitcher in the league. In 76, with Dave LaRoche, they were named the best relief team in Tribe history. 79 with the Rangers, he set MLB records. Most relief wins, 13. Most relief innings pitched, 143. I think those are Rangers records. And most relief strikeouts, 136. 86 with the Tribe, he got in the game. He pitched an inning and a third, gave up 8 earned runs. Tribe fans were throwing garbage on the field, and they missed Kern with a bottle. Kern said, quote, "I knew they couldn't hit me as they were one of my fans." Kern's an outdoor enthusiast. He established Emu Outfitting Company. His nickname's Emu, which operates hunting and fishing and photo trips in North and South America. Been doing that from 98 to 2014. He was a GM of the American offices of 2 peacock bass fishing operations in Brazil and the Amazon. He was the GM of 3 fishing and hunting lodges in southwest Alaska. 2006, he was named one of the greatest Texas Rangers of all time. And Fangraphs named Kearns 2013 the best relief pitcher, or in 2013, best relief pitcher over a 4-year period from 1976 to 79. He won 42 games at 75 saves. The minors, he played for the Elmira Pioneers, Wichita Arrows, El Paso Diablos. His nickname was Emu. Kearns said, quote, "I was big and ugly and made funny noises like an emu." Now, emu is a large, non-flying Australian bird like the ostrich. In 1976, Fritz Peters and Pat Dobson were working on a crossword puzzle in the clubhouse, and they needed a 3-letter word regarding the world's largest non-flying bird, and Kern was running around the clubhouse crowing and flapping his arms, and a nickname was born. Playing for the Reds, he was unhappy and grew a beard to force a trade since they didn't allow facial hair. Kern said, quote, "My baseball ability was something that was given to me by the good Lord. I'm rather proud of collecting 4 pink slips," he's talking about releases, "at the major league level. It means they figured me out once, but I tricked them 3 times. Jim Kern. Bill Gogolewski had no decisions and an ERA of 4.61. 5 games, 13 and 2/3 innings pitched, and 3 strikeouts. Gogolewski was born in 1947 in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, and he's 71 years old in 2019. During his career, he was 15 and 21 with an ERA. 15 and 24 with an ERA of 4.02 and 301 strikeouts. Gogolewski pitched for the Washington Senators, Texas Rangers, Cleveland Indians, and Chicago White Sox from 1970 to 1975. He was 6'4" and 190 pounds. In 73, he surrendered the first ever home run at Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City to John Mayberry. He pitched the last 4 innings to preserve the win in David Clyde's MLB debut. He's the current chairman of the Oshkosh Advisory Park Board. The minors, he played for the Buffalo Bisons, York White Roses, and Oklahoma City 89ers. Bill Gogolewski. Ken Sanders was 0-1 with an ERA of 9.82. 9 games, 1 save, 11 innings pitched, and 4 strikeouts. Sanders was with Cleveland from 1973 to 1974. This was the end of his time in Cleveland. His MLB career continued until 1976. He was released by the Tribe on June 17, 1974, signed by California Angels 1 week later. Ken Sanders. Tom Timmerman was 1-1 with an ERA of 5.40. 4 games, 10 innings pitched, and 2 strikeouts. Timmerman was with Cleveland from 1973 to 1974. This was the end of his MLB career. Tom Timmerman. And finally, Cecil Upshaw was 0-1 with an ERA of 3.38, 7 games, 8 innings pitched, and 7 strikeouts. Upshaw was born in 1942 in Spearsville, Louisiana, and died in 1995 in Lawrenceville, Georgia, at age 52. For his career, he was 34 and 36 with an ERA of 3.13, 323 strikeouts, and 86 saves. Upshaw pitched for the Atlanta Braves, Houston Astros, Cleveland Indians, New York Yankees, and Chicago White Sox from 1966 to 1975. He was top 10 in saves in the National League 4 times from 1968 to 72. His career was cut short by an unfortunate accident. Atlanta Braves players were walking together down an Atlanta sidewalk. A player bet him whether he could jump and touch an overhead awning. So Upshaw jumped and caught his ring on the awning and tore ligaments in his hand. He never fully recovered. He died of a heart attack. In Venezuela, he played for Tigres de Aragua. Cecil Upshaw. After the regular season in the American League Championship Series, the ALCS, the Oakland A's, American League West champions, defeated the Baltimore Orioles, American League East champions, 3-1. Game 1 was in Oakland, Catfish Hunter against Mike Cuellar. The Orioles won 6-3. There were home runs by Paul Blair, Brooks Robinson, and Bobby Grich. Game 2, Ken Holtzman against Dave McNally. The A's won 5-0. Home runs by Sal Bando and Ray Fosse. Game 3 was in Baltimore, Jim Palmer against Vida Blue, and the A's won 1-0 on a Sal Bando home run. Game 4, Mike Cuellar against Catfish Hunter. The A's won 2-1, and Raleigh Fingers got the save. Now so that put the A's in the World Series for the 3rd year in a row. Now in the National League Championship Series, the NLCS, the LA Dodgers, National League West champions, defeated the Pittsburgh Pirates, National League East champions, 3-1. Game 1 was in Pittsburgh, Jerry Royce against Don Sutton. The Dodgers won 3-0. Game 2, Jim Rooker against Andy Messersmith. Dodgers won 5-2, and there was a home run by Ron Say. Game 3 was in Los Angeles, Doug Raw against Bruce Keeson, and the Pirates won 7-0. Home runs by Willie Stargell and Richie Hebner. Game 4, Don Sutton against Jerry Royce. The Dodgers won 12-1. There was a home run by Willie Stargell and 2 by Steve Garvey. In the 1974 World Series, the Oakland A's, American League champions, defeated the Los Angeles Dodgers, National League champions, 4-1. The MVP was the A's closer Raleigh Fingers. Hall of Famers in the World Series included umpire Doug Harvey. For the A's, Raleigh Fingers, Catfish Hunter, and Reggie Jackson. For the Dodgers, Walt Alston, the manager, and Don Sutton and Tommy Lasorda, a coach. After Game 5, Reggie Jackson when they clinched and won the series, Jackson poured a bottle of champagne over the head of MLB Commissioner Bowie Kuhn. This was an all-California Fall Classic. Alvin Dark was the A's manager, former Tribe manager. Game 1 was in Los Angeles. Andy Messersmith against Ken Holtzman. The A's won 3-2. Home runs by Reggie Jackson and Jimmy Wynn. And Catfish Hunter got the save. Game 2, Don Sutton against Vida Blue. Dodgers won 3-2. Joe Ferguson hit a home run. Mike Marshall got the save. In the 9th, Herb Washington was picked off first base by Mike Marshall. Washington was a pinch runner. Game 3 was in Oakland, Catfish Hunter against Al Downing, and the A's won 3-2. Home runs by Bill Buckner and Willie Crawford for the Dodgers. Game 4, Ken Holtzman against Andy Messersmith. The A's won 5-2. Home run by Holtzman, the pitcher, saved by Raleigh Fingers. And Claudel Washington had 2 hits and a walk. Game 5 was the clincher, Vida Blue against Don Sutton. The A's won 3-2. Blue Moon Odom got the win, and Raleigh Fingers the save. Home runs by Ray Fosse and Joe Rudy. In the owner's box for the A's, Rock Hudson and Anita Bryant sat with Charlie Finley. So the Oakland A's got their three-peat. They were World Series champions, 1972, 73, and 74. They joined the 49-53 Yankees, who won 5 World Series in a row, as the only teams to win at least 3 World Series in a row, which was later tied by the 98, 99, and 2000 Yankees. In the 8th, there was 3-2 A's. Bill Buckner hit a ball to center field past Bill North. Reggie Jackson backed up the play and threw to Dick Green, who threw to Sal Bando. And Buckner was cut out at third base, one of the greatest defensive plays in World Series history. Nancy Finley wrote, quote, After Game 5, the A's, wearing those loud Fort Knox gold jerseys and wedding gown pants, mobbed Raleigh Fingers and Ray Fosse in the infield. 5 Fireworks were set off, and Oakland's scruffy band of long-haired fans in full delirium poured onto the field. It was championship pandemonium at its best. Now, the MVPs for 1974 in the American League, Jeff Burroughs of the Texas Rangers. In the National League, Steve Garvey of the Dodgers. Cy Young Award winners in the American League, Catfish Hunter of the A's. In the National League, Mike Marshall of the Dodgers. So that's the story of the 1974 Cleveland Indians and the 74 MLB season. What a year for the Tribe in 74 and for MLB in 1974. God bless the guys who played for the Cleveland Indians in 1974 and everyone else associated with the team, including the fans, especially the Second World War veterans and the veterans of the wars in Korea, Vietnam, Iraq, Afghanistan, and Syria. Captains of the Cuyahoga, lovers of Lake Erie, Terminal Tower Power, fans of the Free Stamp statue and the Fountain of Eternal Life, Euclid Avenue Electricity, Severance Hall stalwarts, Cleveland Museum of Art enthusiasts, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and Museum rebels, Christmas Story House happy people, Museum of Contemporary Art maniacs, Cleveland Botanical Garden goers, Old Arcade admirers, Playhouse Square seers, Settlers Landing Park purists, Western Reserve Historical Society wonders, First Energy Stadium friends, Progressive Field pals, Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse renegades, Cuyahoga Valley National Park pioneers, Great Lakes Science Center supporters, Holden Arboretum enjoyers, and Cleveland Public Library learners. Tribe, Browns, Cavs, Monsters, Gladiators, and Fusion rule. And Spiders, Bulldogs, Rosenblums, Barons, Rams, Crusaders, Force, Crunch, Nets, Lumberjacks, and Rockers rule. Cleveland, City of Champions. Cleveland is the best location in the nation on the north coast of America. New York is the Big Apple. Cleveland is a plum. Before you know it, it'll be opening day 2020. Go Tribe. You might consider checking out our website, Adventures in History with Peter J. Ray at peterjray.com. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. God bless you. Take care, and I'll see you next time.